Hello and welcome to the Classic Cookies Academy. Of course, I'm Nishira, the owner, and I'm so excited that we're getting ready to do the first cookie of our fall collection, the Snicker cookie. Oh my gosh, I'm ready for the fall collection. I'm ready for the fall weather. I'm ready for my pumpkin spice. I'm ready for all things fall. But when I think cookies, what else says fall? What else will say fall? Like caramel and chocolate and even peanuts. So let's get started. I have all of my ingredients here. Today we have salt, white sugar, brown sugar. We have eggs, all-purpose flour, chocolate chips, and of course they're semi-sweet, baking soda, vanilla, and butter vanilla emulsion. And then we also have about 2 cups of our Snickers chunks here, okay? So first things first, we're gonna go ahead and preheat our oven to 350, all right? Now that our oven's preheated, or preheating, we're not quite there yet. We're gonna go ahead and start with my first ingredient. You know I love butter. Butter makes all things better, all right? So I actually have 2 sticks of salted butter here, so we're gonna go ahead and start with that. I'm also gonna start with my mixer on 1. Our butter is room temp. You wanna make sure that once it is at a very smooth consistency, that we go ahead and move on to our sugars, okay? Today we're working with white granulated sugar and brown sugar, all right? So my butter is pretty smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. Make sure we get all of that in there. And then I'm adding 1 cup of brown sugar, okay? You're gonna mix this until it's well combined. You should not really be able to tell the difference between the 3 ingredients. So again, we have a 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 2 sticks of salted butter at room temp. Just gonna allow this to mix just for a few more seconds. Then we're gonna continue on with our wet ingredients. All right, so now that that's well combined, we're gonna go ahead and add our 2 eggs. Some people say, how do you feel about adding eggs 1 at a time? I always laugh at that. When it comes to cookies, it really doesn't matter. Now, sometimes with cakes, it creates a fluffier texture. That's why it's important, but with cookies, we're not going for a fluffy texture, all right? So it's okay. Go ahead and put your eggs in and keep rolling with your recipe. At this point, I really can't tell the difference between my 2 eggs, my butters, and my sugars. So I'm actually gonna add in my vanilla and my butter vanilla emulsion. You know how I feel about butter vanilla. If you've been taking my classes, you know it just takes the cookies to a whole nother level, okay? So I'm adding in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in a teaspoon of our butter vanilla emulsion too, okay? Just gonna give it a quick mix. Now, that's the last of my wet ingredients, so let's go ahead and give our paddle a good scrape down and also the sides of our bowl. We're gonna make sure that all of the ingredients are well incorporated, okay? There's something about adding in that butter, vanilla, and that vanilla at the same time. You can just smell the aroma. It fills the entire kitchen. So another quick mix just because I cleaned down the sides of my bowl, and then we're actually going to move into our dry ingredients and then our topping, my favorite part. All right, we're moving into the dry ingredients. So I'm adding baking soda, okay? You only need 3/4 of a teaspoon of it. So this is 1/4, so that's why you're gonna see me do it 3 times, so just so that you're not confused, okay? So let's go ahead and turn my mixer back on to 1. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. No need to rush. That's number 2. And that's our 3rd one, all right? And then we're gonna go ahead and add in a full teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of salt, okay? I love to give my salt and my baking soda a quick mix every time I add it to my batter or my dough because what it does is it allows the two, because they react to one another, so it allows the two to work very well together when you give it a quick mix. So we're down to our final ingredient, which is our all-purpose flour. So we're going to add in our all-purpose flour here, and this is actually 2 1/4 cups, all right? So you know how I feel about when it comes to my flour now, okay? I feel like that you really should not choke your mixer. So you're just adding in a little at a time. There's no rush, okay? You want to give it a chance to really mix in with your other ingredients and create your dough. Okay, so if you pour it all in at one time, 1, you're gonna create a mess, I can promise you that. But 2, it's also one of those things where it doesn't mix well if it's too bulky or too much in the beginning, okay? So I'm actually allowing my dough to form right here in front of me as I am pouring in my all-purpose flour. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in that last little bit. And again, that was 2 1/4 cups. And we have dough. All right, so I'm just going to clean down my paddle again, scrape down the sides of my bowl, and then the only thing left to do is to add the good stuff. Okay? As you can see, we have dough. All right, so I'm gonna give it a quick mix. While it is mixing, here we go with 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Go ahead and throw those in. And we're there, all right? So we're actually going to take our 2 cups of Snickers chunks and we're going to top them right around the center of the cookie. Don't put it on the edge of the cookie because what's going to happen is the caramel that's inside is going to actually bake onto your pan and you're going to waste all that goodness. So we want to keep it in the center where our cookie is the thickest, in the middle. That's where we'll add a few chunks in the center of it. And you'll see this cookie's gonna be beautiful. It's delicious. It's gonna be a fall favorite. Trust me on this one, all right? So I'm gonna scoop out some dough and show you how I'm gonna top my cookie with the Snicker chunks. And then we'll bake it up for 10 minutes, all right? All right, so you know I always bake 6 to a pan. Again, we're gonna bake these at 350, 9 to 11 minutes. But before we pop them in the oven, let's go ahead and top them with our Snickers chunks, okay? So we have our Snickers chunks here. I'm taking about 3 pieces. And again, boom. I wanna add these right to the center of my cookie, all right? We're not going to put any of the chunks around the edges. We want our edges to be nice and crispy, and we want our toppings to be gooey right in the center. And again, I'm taking about 3 chunks for each one right in the middle, okay? You're gonna see it. You will actually be able to taste these Snicker chunks throughout the cookie, throughout the entire cookie. I promise you. All right, so here we go. We have our 6 cookies. They are all prepped and ready to go into the oven. Again, we have our Snickers chunks right there in the center, and we're gonna bake these at 350 for 9 to 11 minutes, and I'll be back to show you what they look like. All right. All right, these absolutely look and smell amazing, guys. You can see how the Snickers chunks baked into the cookie. You can actually see the chocolate chip, the semi-sweet that I put in there. We have our brown crispy edge. We have our soft center, and we're ready to go. So here we have it, the classic Snickers cookie. Thank you for joining me. Let the dough make the dough, and I love you to life. Bye.